Hello, and welcome to series two of the I Am Laura podcast, juggling chronic illness, kids, a job, and a dream. So, this series is going to be all about speaking to the people who really inspired me on my journey through getting my facial pain and through my mental health issues, and really helped to pull me out the other side. Now, I have to say, doing the whole series one of the podcasts was really helpful for that as well. It really helped me to talk about it and to connect with people, and to get it out, I think. But one of the people I reached out to in the middle of this, really, in the midst of this, when trying to deal with things, was Amber, the lovely Amber. And she's here with me today. And I think your business has sort of like evolved and changed, hasn't it, a bit since we had our sessions.
Massively.
And she'll tell you all about that because it sounds lovely. But I wanted to bring her in today because there was a period of time when I was not coping very well. I had a new job, so I'd moved away from teaching and I'd got a new job, but I wasn't coping very well with the change in dynamic with my husband because of the change in dynamic of our whole life because of a different role for me at work, and different. So I was around more, which I think he found difficult to start with. I was a bit more present, and also just with my emotional need being greater than it had been before. So, Amber, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll ask you some questions.
Thank you, Laura, for inviting me. And it's just what like made, I feel all goosebumpy from your introduction. Just thank you so much for having me here. And you were a pleasure to support. And so I'm an accredited coach. And when we worked together, we worked on a level as a coach. I've now also added in the body part as well. So I was doing very focused on the mindset and a little bit of energy. But now I've added in I've gone deep in breath work. So it's really, really about the holistic picture of supporting the whole person. And for me, it's a great passion because I think since we worked together, I also was like full-time employed in the healthcare system, coaching in that capacity. Also at a time where personal things were going on and I needed to juggle home educating and like work as well. The expectation and pressure from the employment was a lot. So I hit burnout, and it was shortly after that in a coaching conference, I'd made a decision that someone was going to give, and it wasn't going to be me. So I took the hard decision to stop that employment and knew there'd be another way. And I found breath work. Basically, it was in this conference, and it was the most peace that I've ever experienced in my life. And it was just a pure knowing that this was the missing piece because I loved the coaching work I was doing. I love all of it. I love the neuroscience. I love, supporting people to really reconnect to themselves. But I felt, this was the work I'd done for myself and I was supporting others too. And I knew there was more. I knew there was more work, there was more to support and activate that inner healing because I think we're really powerful within ourselves. But I was only tapping into the beginning of it. And opening that door to breath work kind of has really like sent me down a big rabbit hole of, seeing it how much we really do treat symptoms, whether that's in a medical model or in, our everyday life. We're very
Yeah.
much about the quick fixes, because we live in this almost fast-paced, constantly in your head lifestyle that we are conditioned by,
Mm.
from an early age. And being at school, we're taught that we learn through sitting still and using our heads, whereas actually we're disconnecting from our body and all that is
Mm.
communicating, all that wisdom, all that knowing, all that. And I think a lot of the work I do now is in supporting women to really reconnect to that and really raising awareness of the power that we have within us because we are not, it almost feels like an injustice that we're not taught about how to use our body we're taught this path of disconnection really,
Mm.
and we're not taught the power that we have within us and how to access that. And a lot of the breath work, it's all ancient practices that I'm
Yeah.
bringing, but it's the modern science now that backs it, that really, the physical benefits, the mental well-being benefits, and
Mm.
the emotional benefits and the spiritual. So that it encompasses everything really. And I think it's about supporting people holistically is
Yeah.
really what, is powerful and what I love. And it's incredible. It's been quite a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all kind of feels like it's fallen into place.
Yeah.
Went off on a big tangent there, didn't
No,
I?
it's really interesting because I'm on this journey still. As you know, I'm not cured of my facial pain and I still have Crohn's, and I'm doing some work on this at the moment, doing some like brain retraining stuff because mine is all about the wrong signals being sent because I have no physical injury in my head which causes this pain in my face. So my brain has just taught itself, me subconsciously taught my brain to tell my face that it's hurting all the time, like it's in danger all the time, and it isn't. So it's so interesting because you're absolutely right. It is all about the quick fix and it's all about sticking like the band-aid on, isn't it? And it's
Yeah.
that's what it's about, is just trying to cover things up and mask things. So like the drugs I take don't solve anything. They just mean that I can get through a day
Yeah.
without my face hurting too much and carry on. And a lot of what you're saying would be, if we could raise awareness of what you do so that people could actually heal properly instead of just continuously, it's like layers, isn't it? It's layers of stuff through your life that build up, which adds up to this sort of, well, the burnout area or,
Yeah.
the mental health deterioration, things like that. And I think when you hit sort of, I don't want to say midlife because I feel like we live longer now, but when
Mm.
I am 43. So when you hit this sort of age, I think because you've done all the busy, school, go to uni if you went to uni, get a career, get married, have the kids, buy the house, blah, 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 whatever order you did it in. And then it's suddenly the kids are a bit older and you're a bit like, what? What's now?
Yeah.
Because you have been so busy for so long. And I think a lot of people, it feels to me like a lot of people that get to this sort of stage in their lives and are looking for where they are, like where that person's gone. And I remember when I contacted you to do some coaching, because I'd been following Amber for a while. We actually met, didn't we? Because we were both in the Female Entrepreneur Association
Yes.
and we
Yeah.
both live in Cornwall, actually. And that's how we sort of connected because I think there was a post saying, "Where do you live?" type post, and it was like,
Yes,
"Oh,
that was it.
Cornwall, yes." And we haven't actually physically met, have we? Because we're about an hour away from each other. So I'd followed her for a bit, and you also did you do like oracle cards and tarot cards
Yeah.
and stuff, don't you? Which I absolutely love. So I loved following that part of your group as well. But when you said you were doing some coaching, and I really honestly felt like I needed someone to help sort my brain out, and I felt at that time, I came to speak to you and I didn't come to speak to you about my husband. That wasn't why I came to talk to you. I came to talk to you about me or, what's going on with me or fight because I lost my identity completely when I left teaching because it's such a massive part of your life. And I didn't really know who I was. So I reached out to you and what came out really when you were questioning me was about my relationship and how to deal with it and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So Amber did a load of it, like really lovely work with me, which opened up a load of really important conversations that I had with my husband around values and boundaries and stuff. And we found out some surprising stuff about each other, to be honest, which was really interesting. But I think one of the biggest things you said to me that really stuck with me was at the time I was struggling with this. I'm working this 9 to 5. I'm really glad I've got this job after I've been ill. I'm really glad I've got it. I'm really enjoying it. But I'm looking around me like, is this it?
Yeah.
Is this all there is? And I was thinking, why am I not happy with this? I'm looking around at other people. They're all going to work. They finish work, they go home, they're perfectly happy. And I'm there like I've got this thing bursting out of my chest, like I need to do something else. I need to do something else. But I didn't think I was, first of all, I thought it was weird. I was like, why do I have this? I'm so weird. Why can't I just be happy? Um, and I spoke to you about this. And do you remember what you said to me?
No, remind me, remind
So she
me.
said
I'm
to me,
nervous.
um, there's nothing wrong with it, Laura. It's just who
Yeah.
you are. It's
Yeah.
just who you are, and you just are designed not to sit in a 9 to 5. And you
Yes.
know what? Actually, you giving me that permission, I suppose, to just sort of accept that, okay, I'm not designed for just sitting in a 9 to 5, that I have to do more. My brain is more active than that. I don't know. I've got these
Yeah.
dreams. And so that's part of where the podcast came from, to be honest, because I accepted and sort of I gave myself permission to still dream. And
Yes.
even though at the time I was not ready to act on any of those dreams because I was not confident and I was hiding and all the rest of it, I felt that I was allowed to still say that I still had
Yeah.
dreams.
And so many of us, I think it is that conditioning, isn't it? To be, to trust ourselves, to know that we've got these callings and these, desires, and not allow that like guilt for not being grateful for what you've got. And it's not about that. It's about, we are, it's reconnecting to that what we've got within us, and we've all got these gifts and this, and I think it's very easy to be conditioned to, just be molded into who you should be. And it's about, and it's having that, sometimes we do need that permission,
Mm.
and I think again that's come from a lot of how our conditioning and how we've needed to be accepted in our world to keep
Yeah.
us safe. So I think all these things, like you mentioned about your body almost as well, where it's, your brain's kind of programmed itself that you're feeling this pain. There's always a reason that our bodies are doing what it does to keep us safe, whatever that is. And sometimes it's because we are very conditioned to not always process the emotions that we feel as we grow up. And when we don't allow these emotions and these traumas to be released and be processed,
Mm.
because it's energy, we're not
Yeah.
allowing it out of our bodies. Women, I think, more than anything, we
Yeah.
suppress so much. And there becomes a point where that, creates dis-ease in our bodies. And this is where I think the somatic work of the breath work is we
Mm.
have this ability to be able to activate that inner healing within us and release these things. But again, this is why I'm really passionate about sharing awareness, because if I heard myself several years ago, I'd have thought, what, and
Yeah.
we're just so in those boxes and so in this fast-paced way of being, we don't almost allow ourselves time to catch our breath,
Mm.
to feel and to be. Um, yeah, so much. And that's, I love that you heard that and you remembered that. And that's the biggest why of this, and just that
Yeah.
ripple effect, because now you're a mum as well, and you're going to impart that belief in
Yes.
your family and beyond. And it's,
Yeah.
and I think when that belief, that old, that voice that says this is selfish, all comes up, I think it's a powerful reminder that actually, even if you're not a mum, there's other people in your life that you're going to impact by allowing yourself to step into it, embrace who you are, because you're giving others permission that
Yeah.
perhaps would otherwise not see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love these chats. So I get goosebumps. Exciting.
I am definitely like instilling this in my kids. One of the things that's really important to me with my children is that I teach them to be honest. So being honest is very, very important to me. But
Yeah.
ever since leaving school, I've had this weird sort of rebellion against it. This is me leaving teaching. This weird sort of rebellion against it. Like I know that you feel quite strongly about the school system and
Yeah.
absence and things like that. Um, but I have been trying to show my children that you can basically, it's not the be all and end all, is it?
No.
And secondly, it's so important that you are aware of the power that you have and the decisions that you make and how they can alter the way that you think. Now, my 9-year-old looks at me like I've got something stuck on my face when I start talking about these things. She's like,
Yeah.
I can't choose. I can't choose what I'm thinking. And I'm like, yes, you can, Ems. But she's not quite grasped that yet. She's an incredibly emotional roller coaster
Yeah.
of a child. And my eldest daughter is very she's very down the line, like she has to do everything by the book and all the rest of it. But she is hearing me because school, she's in year nine, so she's 14, and school is very much um, like hounding her really about what she wants to do. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And I'm like, this has been since last year. I was like, Lucy, you're
Wow.
13. You don't need to know this yet because she's there panicking. I don't know what I want to do. Everybody knows what they want to do. And
Yes.
yeah, I know it's hard, isn't it? And
Mm.
they had to literally create like a poster of what they want to do and put it on the board in their uh,
Wow.
form room. And so she was really upset about this because Lucy likes to do things really well, like she's really diligent.
Yeah.
And so we just started having a conversation because I talked to her about what sort of position does she want to be in? Like, does she want to work in a team? Does she want to be in charge? Does she want to be her own boss? What sort of position? And then we talked about what sort of skills she would need to do that. So even though she's like scoffing at me to start with about what you want about mummy, I'm supposed to say like I want to be a doctor or something like this. Actually, once we got into this conversation and she got over the whole huffiness of me trying to take her down a different path, she actually started to listen. And that's what I mean. And what you're saying, I think, about stepping into your power is stepping into actually what skills do I need to be able to do this? How can I move myself forward? And then it starts to evolve, doesn't it? Like we don't have all the answers, right?
No, absolutely. And I think it's also feeling into it as well. Like, how do you want to feel in your life?
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
what is it that brings you joy? Because
Yeah.
I think we so often forget that part. And again, that's falling into that should. So it's like, what do I feel? Where am I really in flow? Like, where does time just go when I'm like, is it creating something? Do I have this drive to help people? Is it, and it's just exploring. And I think as well with a lot of times, because I get the same from my daughter, if I suggest anything, I think it's more about us embodying it ourselves and them seeing, because
Yeah.
I have that rebellious like streak in me where I'm
Yeah.
like, nope, I'm not going to be told.
And start a
And
revolution. I felt like that several times in my
absolutely.
life.
And I know my daughter has the same. So it's exactly, it's just about, I think, embodying what you can for yourself and really being as true to yourself as possible. And it's
Yeah.
not just an overnight thing. And
No.
it's about being kind to yourself. And there is no such thing as a healed person, or, we're all a work in progress. We're all evolving, and it's being aware of what is important to you. Like we discussed, like looked at what is our values, and perhaps revisiting it at different times of
Yeah.
our lives, because we are almost showing up as different people. If you look back at yourself perhaps a couple of years ago, you're going to be a very different person than you're showing up today. And again, I was in a mastermind call this morning just before this, and we were really connecting to like a 5 year ahead version of ourselves, and how
Wow.
do you feel? And then we were introduced to like 3 years ahead, and then 1 year, and we were like connecting to all of those versions of ourselves and really feeling into the message of what's available, what is the you're almost feeling into how they feel, how have they shifted, what advice would they give you, and allowing yourself space to dream and create space for those opportunities to connect to those, I think are really helpful. So some of the breath work I do, the deeper work, is I do a conscious connected breath. So if I do the breath healing release, which includes this breathe method as well as other techniques, it's really focused and honed into what they're ready to release and what they want to embrace more of. So you tailor almost like a meditation while they're breathing. So the body is going through lots of neurochemical changes, but they're also, the cognitive side is reprogramming through the script that you're almost running for this person. So it's
So
a
do you,
whole.
sorry to interrupt a second, do you talk while people are breathing? How does that work?
So depending on the breathe, if I'm doing the conscious connected breathe, it's almost like a guided meditation.
Okay.
But it will be particular tailored to a theme or to that one person if it's a one-to-one. And how that works is using a lot of their language, which really helps them connect to where they're at the moment. But also tailoring that journey to give them an opportunity to connect. So perhaps it's a visualization of meeting that future self. It's like a whole body experience when we do the conscious connected breathe. Conscious connected breathe is when we're doing a really deep breathe, and I do these one to one. I do it in a circle sometimes if it's a fairly small circle, because I just want to ensure everyone's safe, because it is quite a stressor breathe. But it's we also embed like a guided meditation, really, that really enables you to release your body is ready to release. So somatically, the breath will enable you to access what it is you're holding and unprocessed in your body. So it can bring up different emotions. Some people get really hot, really cold. There's lots of biochemical reactions. And it's a really powerful process, but it really does an unconscious reprogramming as well as the somatic release. So it's really powerful to integrate these new beliefs and new ways of being, and let go of the old that holds us back, those old stories, those ways of being that have kept us in the same loop, even when we think, we've done the mindset work and almost pushing through. Sometimes I think there's power in mindset work, but to a point, if your body's not on board, you're almost going to be battling against yourself. So it all integrates the work together. So you don't have to do a conscious connected breath to get these results. We can do it with a different type of breath, which is safe for everybody. There's also the breath healing release, which is the most powerful thing I've ever experienced. That integrates some NLP work, coaching, deep breath work, also energy work, so Reiki, EFT, and combined together like a 90-minute session. And the first time I ever experienced this session, I think there's like 6 or 7 of us trained in this in the world now.
Yeah, wow.
Getting to witness others experience this journey is just incredible.
So how did you feel when you witnessed, when you experienced this? I'm assuming, somebody must have done it and you were in the audience to start with, and, you were one of the people who was being led. The audience is not the right word, but
Yeah.
how did it feel to you? Like, do you mind what happened?
No. So my first session, it was part of my breathwork training, because the training I've done is like, it's classed as like degree. Like, we went right in. It was the first round with Anna Parker Naples. It's been amazing. So she asked for a volunteer as part of our training, and I was like, yeah, that's great. And she's created this modality, and she demonstrated it on me, and oh my goodness, it was something that I didn't even know that was holding on to, and it was all about that sense of responsibility that probably a lot of us females have. And it's almost, independence is a great thing, but not allowing yourself to ask for help or accept help is sometimes it can be what really pulls us back. But I'd had a back issue on and off for, it'd been like over a year, I think, over a year, perhaps 2 years. I thought it was more connected to working with younger kids in my last career, like teaching as well. But it would be like a tightening in my lower back and the fascia. And I would go for a Bowen every month to almost like stretch me out, which would like make it feel free again.
Yeah.
And then it would gradually tighten up throughout. And then I'd go for next month. And that day I'd said to my daughter, I was like, oh, my back's really twinging today. I'm hoping I've not kind of left it too long. I went into that session that evening and not even a thought of how it would impact my back. And through the breath, I shifted what felt like a real weight pulling me, a real like tightness that was pulling me back and holding me back. And that was what was
You could feel this as you were doing the breath, like you could feel
I breathe. So we breathe into that, and it's a real in-depth kind of using NLP to really do that cognitive reprogramming. And then the breath work gets that somatic release and connects. And I released it. It was gone. Like, I was in almost like, oh God, this is going to go again that morning. And the evening it had gone. And do you know, I've not had it since.
You're joking.
No, that was, I've been qualified since July now. I started the training the October before that. And that was probably about a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's gone. It's gone completely. Like, it's insane. And these sessions, like, there's another, like, sessions I've run, it's been, or experienced myself as well, because between the ones that we've qualified, so like kind of colleagues, we give each other, we can feel in our bodies now where something's ready to go. So we like say, can I have a session? And and with clients as well. I had one client that felt really stuck, wasn't receiving the love that she wanted in her life, was blocked around money and abundance. And we did a session one evening, and then the next morning she messaged me and she's like, literally, this morning I've had a phone call from a loved one inviting me out. They've paid for my, breakfast, brunch, whatever it
Mm.
was. And she's like, I can feel a huge shift in me as well. Like I'm ready to receive. And it happened within a few hours. And
Wow.
there's been other people who felt like, they've literally had this weight on their chest that's really like kept them restricted and impacted their
Yeah.
breathing. And they felt that actually physically crumbled and almost coughed up dust
Ah,
at the end of the session. And they've just felt lighter and taken it is insanely
yeah.
incredible what the body can do. And it's really, I feel really privileged to be able to go on that journey with
Yeah.
people. It's always
Well, it's very intimate journey, isn't it, as well, really? It's
absolutely.
yeah, it makes people being very vulnerable with you in order to be able to bring it out really, because they have to be, don't they have to be
Absolutely.
open to the process. I always find it really fascinating how powerful our bodies are. And I think
Mm,
over the last few years, I've done a lot on mindset, as you mentioned a moment ago, and just a lot of being sort of aware more of what's happening in my body. I mean, I do yoga every day, which I know is a poor substitute for your breath work, but I really enjoy yoga and I do it first thing in the morning. And when you're talking about, feeling through your body and what your body's doing, that's something that I was not consciously doing, but I do it when I do yoga. So I literally get out of bed, I roll out of bed, I grab my mat, I don't even get out of my pajamas, and I just go downstairs and I actually only do 15 minutes because I just try and fit it in before taking the kids to school.
yeah.
And because I've literally just rolled out of bed, most of the time when I'm doing it, I've just got my eyes shut. I just
Mm,
move through the motions and the movements and the postures just with my eyes shut. And then you can really feel how great it feels in my back to move something, or how great it feels in my leg, or whatever it is. And so that's part of, I guess that's part of me coming back into my body.
yeah.
And actually on this, I talked about the rewiring and rethinking of my brain. There's some somatic work in there as well.
Mm,
And I absolutely believe in the power of all of these things. It's like ancient wisdom, isn't it? It is like all
absolutely.
coming from when we were more connected with the earth, and when we, when we had less busy lives, we had less going on. And there is, you're absolutely right, so much conditioning, especially like, well, it's going to be the same with our kids now, but there's more awareness now around this stuff, isn't there? Like we talk
Mm,
about it more. We talk about mental health. We talk about, this sort of stuff, yoga and the meditation and well-being and looking after yourself. And when I assume you're a similar age to me. Sorry if I'm aging you, but when we were growing up in the 80s and the 90s, there was none of this stuff, was there? There was absolutely nothing of it. And so we did grow up without the internet, which, helped. But there was nothing about this. And so I can imagine there's like, well, the generation before us for sure, and the one before that for sure as well.
mm,
But I can imagine that there's a lot of women and men now coming to this point in, I mentioned in our lives where there is layer upon layer of this stuff that's sort of amassed over a period of time. And so there literally is stuff to release, and to help yourself come back into yourself. And us modeling that, as you said. So it's not just about me talking to my daughter. She sees me every day in here. I show her the stuff that I create so that I can help other people. And she just sees everything that I'm putting out there. She's not on social media, so she doesn't see all of that unless I show her, but she sees everything else, and she sees me talking to people like you. And so it is like she is getting that through me into in subconsciously, because I'm not talking directly to her, but she sees it. And so I'm really proud of that, of passing that through to her. And I'm hoping that because we have these conversations, and because I talk to her a lot about, like the mind body connection, I don't call it that because she would like look at me like I was mental,
mm,
but that sort of thing. I'm hoping that she will be more open to it before she hits 43, or before she hits 39, when she crumbles and gets this burnout or all the rest of it. I'm hoping that as she grows, she will be more connected to what her body's saying and
mm,
aware of it, so that maybe in the future, people will have come to this equilibrium where there's between the rushing around and the mania of everyday life and actually the connection with nature and themselves. But it's a
Yeah.
choice, isn't it? It's a
Yeah,
choice.
absolutely. And I'm really, I think one of my bigger visions is to get this into more families and perhaps even into schools,
Yeah.
because I feel like, all the things we're taught in school, there's so many things now. I think there is more, our children are more, and this is why I think we're seeing a massive growth in children refusing school. I feel like there's almost like this, actually, this isn't what
Yeah.
have been encouraged to do my whole life. And I've always bit worked in early years where it's all about the whole well-being of the child, and
Yeah.
it's almost like then you go into this box. So I feel there's a lot of changes in a lot of systems that are
And that
needed.
gets worse the higher up in school you go,
Oh
doesn't
my
it? Because
gosh,
you've got
yeah.
early years where it's all about learning through
Yeah.
play. Primary school, you're all looked after
And
and do
then,
nice things and you're encouraged to be yourself. And then secondary school, it's like, nope,
well, I think
pick the
even it
box.
starts younger now. Like
Yeah,
primary school has even been like, you sit at this desk, this is how
that's
you do
true.
it.
Yeah,
And I think obviously it varies from school to school, and some are amazing, but and every child has a different experience. But I just think, there's so much. I think it's almost feels like, because we're seeing a mental health crisis in kids, and I think if that
yeah,
isn't the biggest alarm that things aren't working as it
yeah,
is, then I don't know what is really, because children should not be stressed, and I think it comes down to a lot of stress. There's all these pressures, expectation, and stress is like the epidemic at the moment.
yeah,
Our bodies aren't designed to live the way we live our lives. We're designed to move more in the day. We're designed to not constantly we had our fight flight system is designed for, saving our lives when a saber-toothed tiger might be coming at us, not
yeah.
for, the most recent email pinging on your phone every 2 minutes. And that is how we're
It
kind of
is.
wired.
Yeah.
And this chronic stress
Too
is,
much adrenaline. Like there's
yeah,
adrenaline around your body
absolutely.
all the time.
And I
Yeah,
think it's about 80% of us are not breathing in a functional way. And that's in a way, that's because of the stress. We're in stress, so we're breathing shorter. We're not getting the
yeah,
benefits of fully breathing functionally that our bodies are designed for. We have this incredible vessel that is able to heal itself, is able to, even in the deep sessions that I've said, people will only go as far as they're ready for, because as you said, we're possibly bringing decades of stuff
yeah,
that we've repressed. And if that all came out at once, that would just be way too much for someone. So it is a process, and it is leaning into that trust. And I think when like you mentioned your yoga as well, and I think that is a really powerful way of connecting into your body every morning. And that deepens our intuition and our knowing and all of that kind of side of things as well, that connection. Yeah, so it is really exciting where it's going to go.
yeah.
I get really excited by that. So what is possible?
Yeah,
But yeah,
well, it's like infinitely possible, right? Because how much has
yeah,
it evolved to get to this point for
yeah,
somebody to pass this down and for it to move? I'm assuming it didn't, begin in our country in Britain and it's
yeah,
come from somewhere else, maybe from the origins of where, the Buddhist monks with the yoga and all the rest of it who are
yeah.
more connected with things. So, these things evolve, don't they? And yeah, infinitely possible. That's
Mm,
really exciting.
it is.
Um, I'll let you say something else in a second, but I really want to thank you for literally being a really calming presence for me, when I just needed someone to listen and to help. And I think listening to you talking today, it's really clear just what a lovely calming presence you are. And it seems like
Oh,
this lovely, natural progression for you to have moved into this more holistic sort of breath work area that you've moved into to help draw more out. And I have to say, I have been watching you so closely with all of this. I love it. I do follow you all the time.
oh,
And I really want to come to some of your sessions. I think that would be amazing. I do. I basically, I'm not as well as I want to be. And I got asked the question the other day, which really took me by surprise, right? First of all, the question was, do you believe that people can change, like have the power to change their realities and their futures. And I was like, well, yeah, I do, because you can make choices, right? And if you
Yeah.
are consciously making those choices, you can change
Hmm.
what's in front of you. And then she asked me, do you believe that you'll be in pain for the rest of your life? And I immediately said no, like immediately. And I had never,
Wow.
I did, it came out without me thinking about it. And I had never sort of consciously thought,
Mhm.
um, this is going to go away, because everybody's told me, if you're in pain for this long, it's probably not going to go away. You're going to have it forever, which is incredibly depressing to hear. So for me to respond like that, it really took me by surprise.
Mhm.
So perhaps this is part of my learning and you getting into my subconscious and me doing this other thing about my, brain retraining. And this is just part of my path, because everything that's happened to me the past few years, I'm definitely not over it. And as you say, it's a continual process. Like, it's not
Mhm.
going to be something that I can take a drug and it's gone. It's
Yeah.
not, antibiotics and stuff do that, but this is, it's not a situation where it's going to be I take it and it's gone. And
Mhm.
so I actually, which you might be proud of me, I dropped one of my tablets at the weekend. Whenever I say that, it sounds like I've dropped it, but I reduced my dose by one tablet
Amazing.
because I'd
That's
been feeling
amazing.
so much better. Yeah. And that's something, if anybody's listening and they're not sure whether to go for their dreams and they're not sure whether to sort of step into this power that Amber's talking about and going for something that you really want, actually, a lot of the time, if you are starting your own business, you do it, as Amber was talking about, whilst you're doing something else. So you're working,
Yeah.
a couple of jobs, you're looking after your kids. It is a juggle, like it's a lot. But if you are well enough to persist with it until you get to a point where you can jump. Now, don't get me wrong, that jump is scary, right? When you
Oh,
take the
yeah.
leap and you go, do you know what? I really want to just do this. And you've got to feel it in your body. Like, I got to a point where I totally felt in my whole body, I can do this. I need to just give it a go. And so I jumped. And I can't tell you how much better I've been feeling. And I think part of that is feeling calm. So I'm not tight. I don't feel tight. I feel like I'm calm. I'm doing my yoga. I'm speaking. I've surrounded myself with amazing women like you and also other women that I've met along on my journey. And I feel calm. And something that's really important, I think, is to go where the flow takes you. And I know that sounds ridiculous,
Mhm.
but go with the flow. I think you will constantly, as an entrepreneur, you have to flex and change, don't you? I mean, like,
Yeah.
your journey has flexed and changed, and your interests and things have changed along the way. And um, I think if you can sit comfortably in that, I think that you will feel a difference in your health. And that's all about part of you stepping into your power, stepping into your body, listening to what your body needs, but also believing that these things are possible. And
Absolutely.
there's so many people bringing stuff to us now, aren't there, that is showing us that there's more possible. There's more possible than we thought was possible, if that makes sense, and raising
Absolutely.
that awareness of things. So did you want to finish it off? Amber, you finish it off with tell us about your course, tell us about where we can reach you, and then everything will be in the show notes, of course. But
Yeah, brilliant. I'll add it all in the links, but you can find me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, kind of. I'm going to be there a bit more. Email, website is coming in the next few weeks, so that will be out there and I'll share the link. But yeah, like, you've spoken about dropping one of your meds. That's incredible. That's amazing. And I had one of my case studies actually do the same. She managed her pain, which was my grandmother actually at
oh
80.
wow,
She managed her pain and managed to reduce her breath. And I've stopped taking inhalers. So I could just talk all day
no
about that.
way,
From being a
wow,
lifetime asthmatic,
yeah.
I now don't need daily inhalers anymore. It's just incredible what's possible. Yeah, so yeah, get in touch. Love to connect with more of you. And thank you so much. You've just like made my year by chatting with you today and sharing. So thank you so much. Always a pleasure to chat with you.
Oh,
And
you're
we'll be in
welcome.
person
Go on.
soon.
What was that? Sorry.
We'll meet in person soon.
Yes, that would be
Looking forward
lovely.
to
I could
it.
have a face-to-face breathwork session because
Yes.
Amber keeps posting on her Facebook this beautiful image of her sat in like a semicircle with all like little
Yes,
lights or
in the
candles or something in
room.
this beautiful room. And I'm just there going, I want to sit in there. I want to go and sit in that
Yes.
room. It looks amazing. So yes, I would love to come and do something. I'm definitely convinced after this chat, Amber, by the way. Not that I was not convinced before, but I'm definitely convinced it's worth a go.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. It's been such a long time since we've caught up, so I
I
really appreciate your
know.
time.
Oh,
Um,
pleasure.
oh, yes, and I will put everything in the links. But just to finish off by saying, everybody who listens to this show is struggling with something. It it's most probably chronic illness, or you may be a family member of somebody with chronic illness. And I just want to say to those people who we get up every single day, right? This is it, whether it come rain or shine, whether you feel awful or not, we still get up every day. And just to remember that you are so brave and you are so strong every single day. And just to keep sharing your magic because we have magic in us and it's really important that we share it and get it out. That's it. Bye.